Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sold Sign Real Estate Unplugged. We are your hosts and favorite realtors, Lauren
and Naya.
And we are here to bring you another great episode. This one's going to be a little different. We know we always bring you guys a story, but someone actually wrote in and they wanted some advice. And we thought this would be a great opportunity to provide that advice on our podcast. So this one is not necessarily have a title, but we'll call this Tips for Purchasing a Home in Your 20s.
Yes. So this person says, as a recent college graduate, I've been dreaming of the day I could move out on my own and start my adult life. Now that I've landed a job and saved up some money, I'm ready to take the leap into home ownership in my 20s. I've always loved the idea of having my own space where I can decorate however I want and make it truly feel like home. Plus, I'm tired of dealing with noisy roommates and shared bathrooms. I'm ready for some peace and quiet. But buying a home in my 20s feels like a daunting task. There's so much to consider, from finding the right neighborhood to navigating the complexities of the home buying process. What is your advice to someone like me? That is great.
Yeah, that's a great question. Kudos for even trying to even start the home buying process, because
Right.
In your 20s it can seem early. So kudos to you.
Yes.
Thanks for writing in.
Yes. So I'm with them on the noisy roommates and shared bathrooms.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So I take it you don't want any roommates,
Right.
Okay? You want to do this all by yourself. So I guess the first tip would be to do some research. See, like you said here, kind of see what neighborhoods, schools you want to be in. But doing that, just intense research, initial research up front on your own would really help you know about the market and kind of learn a little bit about the home buying process. That would be my first tip.
Of course, you want to kind of do a self check financially to know where your credit is. Consider, do you have a good credit history? Are you paying things on time? So just kind of like a little self check-in, because your credit history, that's going to be a part of what helps you get pre-approved for your mortgage. So you want to have a sense of where you're at with your credit and take that into account on your readiness to purchase a home as well.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And then I guess reaching out to a few lenders would that be would they do that now, kind of reaching out to a few lenders to kind of see what their options are and what they can maybe qualify for? Or do you think they should wait? Seems like they're ready.
I feel like they're pretty ready. I would say go ahead and connect with a realtor, because I always feel like, people go back and forth about whether you should connect with a lender first or a realtor first, but I think connect with a realtor first to kind of have that initial discussion about your goals, when you want to buy, where you want to buy, and because they should have some sound lenders on their team to easily connect you with, instead of going out there on your own to find a lender. But either way, whatever you feel most comfortable with, but it may be an easier path and connection if you connect with a realtor who can connect you to a trustworthy lender.
Yeah,
because you certainly, you just certainly don't want to, just pull up any lender on Google. These are your finances. So you want to, make sure that, it'll be somebody who's really taking care of you and your finances.
Yes, they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why getting more than one opinion would be great. Because every lender is different. They're going to ask you for all the same things, but they're not going to offer you the same things. You may get a different rate. You may get different programs, different grants. So definitely doing that second, actually reaching out to the realtor first, and then having them connect you to a lender. And you also may ask, well, I have a bank, that I've been working with. Some people may want to work with, their credit union, or they've really been working with a bank that they've always worked with, or that their parents worked with. We get it, but work with them. That's fine. Apply through them, but also apply with some lenders that your realtor also has referred you to, because they are in the market and they know what other realtors are looking for.
Yeah,
that's one thing to kind of help ease the process.
Yeah.
And then definitely, like you said, the strong credit, building credit history, rental history. I'm assuming you're trying to buy in your 20s, not necessarily renting. Not sure if you are renting right now. It seems like you probably are, because you mentioned you're tired of shared bathrooms. So hopefully you have great credit history, a great rental history, so that when you do go and apply, they can see that you do have that that background and you're in a good space to buy.
That's a good point, because I think sometimes people think like that doesn't matter. Like, I can just go out here and buy a home and like start fresh. No. That history still matters. So be responsible right now with the rental history record as well.
Pay your rent.
Yeah, pay your rent on time. Just as pay everything on time. So, yes.
Because it's going to help you. It's going to help you with your mortgage.
Right, oh, goodness. If you're not doing that on time, then you might not quite be ready yet, because they're not going to be lenient about that.
No.
When the first comes around. Okay.
This ain't just no eviction out of an apartment.
Right. This is some real stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. Pay your stuff.
And then once you are, connected with a realtor, you have connected with a lender, and you have a sense of what your pre-approval amount will be, you really want to be sure that you are aware of and setting a personal budget for yourself. So even though your pre-approval amount says XYZ, you don't have to buy at the max of that. So, again, have some internal self-check with what you are really comfortable spending monthly. So maybe it's still something that's like around your rent, or maybe you're willing to go, $500 over what you're currently spending in rent for a home. So, kind of ask yourself those questions and hold true to that budget that you keep. And then also consider, you're buying a home in your 20s. You are very likely not to stay in this home that you will buy in your 20s forever. Maybe not even for 5 years. So keep that in mind. This first home does not have to be your forever home. So you should, again, that's why you should not like splurge and max out on it. You also, don't expect it to have all the bells, whistles, and things. So like, think about what's important to you right now, what's important to your budget right now, and then know that you can grow and expand and transition like from that point. So set a budget, stick to it, and know that like this is a first step on your journey. Probably not your first or forever home, but something to get your foot in the game and get you, away from noisy roommates.
I love that.
Think about your long-term, short-term, and long-term. Because, like, you probably won't be at the job you're at right now.
Oh,
maybe
true.
in 5 years either. So, you can expand and grow. You might need to move locations later. So, again, short-term, long-term goals, consider all that. And then just stick to it for now.
Yeah. That was perfect. And you're doing all that while building equity.
Yeah, while building
in the
equity,
house. And it's like the best savings account. That was like spot on. I love that. I love that. It really was. Okay, so like Naya said, really setting the money part, setting that budget, because then like if you stick to your budget, you'll be good. Like you will be in a really, really good space. Once you go outside of that, then you know, because you have other things that you have to worry about, your income, your expenses. There are other things outside of just your mortgage. So staying within that budget, like Naya said, is very important. So after you have your budget set, so let's go back. So you have your realtor, you've applied to lenders. Now you've set your budget. You know what you're approved for. What's next? Kind of like the fun part, right? We get to go out and go shopping, but you do want to prioritize location and safety. Well, I do, but I'm going to tell you, since you wrote in and asked, I would say, especially in your 20s and you're by yourself, I would prioritize location and safety. That means looking at sites that will provide you with information about low crime rates. And we're always happy to give you that information. Realtors are not necessarily going to tell you whether or not an area has low crime rate or good schools. But what we will do all the time is we will give you the resources for you to go look that information up in that specific area, and you can decide whether or not it's a good area for you. So researching the neighborhoods, knowing if they have good schools, is it convenient access to your job, to any amenities like grocery stores, public transportation. Am I choosing kind of a safe neighborhood? It will kind of give you peace of mind as well. And then again, with your budget and pre-approval, I think starting to now look at houses in that criteria will really help you out. And doing that before you actually go out to see the houses. Look at them online. We have that. We have access, so your realtor will set you up. They should be setting you up on a portal. That way you're able to see what's out here in the market, and you have your budget, so you know how much you can qualify for. So once you take the look and you say, okay, I see a few houses I like, just drive around at night, drive around in the morning, drive from your job and see what the commute is. And then if you're like, okay, I think this could be somewhere or an area that I really like that I want to move forward with, now you and your realtor will go out and y'all will start looking at homes. And not only that, if there are homes that are not for sale in that community that you really want to look at, your realtor will most likely send out some mailers or send something to the neighbors that's saying, I have a buyer. Are you looking to sell? And that's one thing that can really help you get into a home in this market without being in the competitive space.
Yep, that's excellent. So yeah, that's another benefit of working with a realtor. You have the opportunity to get an off-market deal and save yourself, some of that layer of, competition amongst other buyers in the public market. So
it's real out here.
That was a great point.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're house hunting, you're prioritizing what's important to you versus, for neighborhood and safety. And then really just the rest of it is just kind of like letting the process roll, be patient, maybe be a little flexible, trust your instincts. Remember, stick to what you've set for yourself. But that's really it.
It is difficult. So it can be a very daunting task. Don't,
it's a big thing.
It is a big thing. It's going to be one of the biggest purchases that you're going to make. So it is going to feel like, man, this is like a never ending process. And they feel that way. It's going to be a lot harder than it is going to an apartment and signing a lease. It has a lot more moving parts to that. And should we talk about really quick, just like maybe what they would be going through in the, like, maybe once they get under contract, or maybe like upfront costs, maybe what they would need, the difference of maybe what you would need in an apartment. You need, your security deposit and I guess like first month's rent, but then that's mainly your upfront costs. But what about when you're buying a house? It doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, when you're buying a house, what are the upfront costs that you really are going to have to save for?
Yeah, that's a good.
Especially just getting out of college.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So when you get under contract on your home, you need to be prepared like immediately to put down your earnest money deposit. And this is going to be generally 1% of the sales price. So let's just say you're getting a home that's $300,000. You're going to need to put forward an earnest money deposit of $3,000. That will go towards your purchase, on closing day at the table. So you'll see that $3,000 back unless for some chance you pull out of the deal. We don't got to get all into that.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Know that $3,000 is your earnest money deposit, showing that you are earnest and serious about buying this home. And you'll see that at the closing table go towards, your closing costs and everything you need to close out. But outside of that, you still need to pay for your inspection, should you have one, and your appraisal, which the inspection generally about like $500, let's just say.
Yeah.
Your appraisal generally, I would say like 5 to 6 more. Yep. Let's say $650.
Yep.
Generally.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are mainly, your upfront costs that you're going to need, your down payment, obviously, and your closing costs, and your down payment, depending on what kind of financing you have. Again, credit score is very important here. If you have a higher credit score, the lower your down payment is going to be. But if your credit score is lower, then the higher your down payment is going to be. So really work on that credit score. If you have good credit, and what we mean by good credit, like a 650 or above, you will most likely be able to qualify for a 3% down payment with conventional financing, or 3.5% with FHA financing. Either way, that's pretty standard. Like anything under 5% is pretty standard for the down payment. And then on top of that, 3 or 3.5% down payment, you also have your closing costs. In this market right now, if for whatever reason you don't get closing costs paid by the seller, because you probably won't right now in this market, you would need to bring that to the table or see if you qualify for any programs. The closing cost amount is going to run you between 4 and 6%. So in total, you're going to need about 8% funds. So 8% from the purchase price. So let's take $300,000 times 8%, whatever that figure is. That's about the about way how much you would need for closing, just to bring to the closing table, and then including all the upfront costs that Naya just mentioned.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about the financial standpoint of it, that's kind of what you need. You can kind of do some calculations with that. And that's pretty much the money you're going to need. I know it's a lot. It's stressful. Yeah. But the programs, that's why you want to speak to the lender up front, because they're going to be able to look at all of your financials and tell you whether or not you can qualify for programs and what specific programs you can qualify for. And right out of college, again, that's great.
Yeah, so
seriously. That is really good. Yeah, those are my top tips. Yeah. Our top tip, not mine. Our top tips for buying a house in your 20s. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's pretty much it. So to wrap it all up, just do it. As long as your finances are in the right spot, just do it. I think it's a great accomplishment to be able to do on your own in your 20s. So just do it.
That's a wrap for another episode of Beyond the Soul Sign. Thank you guys again for watching, listening, subscribing. We really appreciate it. So you can find us on YouTube if you want to check out our visuals. We are also on Instagram and TikTok. And then obviously, if you want to listen to us, you can find us on your favorite podcast platform. So Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I don't even know what else we on. Podbean,
Prime.
We're on all of them. So yeah, as soon as you open it, I promise you can find us. So go ahead and subscribe, like, and follow, and share, please. Yes. If you share our podcast, really appreciate it. So again, thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.